welcome to New Wave Global. This is Unraveled, and this is the first episode of 2026. And we started with Bangladesh. Now, Bangladesh enters 2026 amid a profound political transition. On 30th December, as you would know, former Prime Minister Khaleda Zia passed away in Dhaka at the age of 80 after a prolonged illness. She has been in comatose state as well, and we have been, covering how the politics of Bangladesh and her illness and the state of her party vis-a-vis her rival party, Awami League. But coming back to the current situation, Begum Khaleda Zia's funeral drew massive crowds. And the interim government declared national mourning for, I think, 3 days. That underscored Begum Khaleda Zia's enduring political significance in Bangladesh's history. Now, days earlier than that, on 25th of December, her son Tarique Rahman, who is also the acting chairman of the BNP, her political party, returned to Bangladesh after nearly 18 years of exile. His previous convictions were quashed following the 2024 political transition. And now Mr. Tariq Rahman is widely seen as the leading contender ahead of the 2026 general elections. Have been announced to be held in February. Now, these developments unfolded against a backdrop of serious unrest earlier in December. The assassination of student leader Sharif Usman Hadi triggered nationwide protests marked by arson, attacks on media outlets, and overall violence targeting symbols of the former Awami League government. And going by the Indian media, these targeted symbols included the Hindu minority as well. And this unrest also took on an external dimension with anti-India sentiment. There were also attacks on Indian diplomatic missions. As Bangladesh prepares for elections, it faces a fragmented political landscape where the BNP leads, but student movements, a national citizens party, and a resurgent Jamaat-e-Islami are, seen to be reshaping the field. To examine what this moment means for democracy in Bangladesh, I am joined by Professor Harun-or-Rahid, the PhD scholar in Kent State University. Very warm welcome, Professor Rashid. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. So let's jump in right away. Before I ask you questions about the current political turmoil and the future of democracy, let's talk a bit about the legacy of Begum Khaleda Zia. How do you see it? Because from where I'm sitting outside, far outside Bangladesh, it was like the last when I went to Bangladesh, it was 2005. After that, I never got a visa. So my knowledge is a little bit stale, as you can see. But looking at the legacy of Begum Khaleda Zia, it seems to me that she appeared to be closer to Jamaat-e-Islami, in terms of ideology, because, and both of these were against every were for everything that was opposite to Awami League, which was also secularism, which was also progressive politics, which was also, all the progressive liberal democratic symbols. So, do you also see the legacy of Begum Khaleda Zia as, against the secularism and progressivism and closer to Islamic conservatism?
Thank you. This is a very good question. So I would not see this as a kind of a binary like that.
Mm-hmm.
So Islamism versus secularism. Um, because the idea of the revolution in 2024,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I mean, let's go back to the revolution. Why did it happen? And then we will come to this question of Begum Khaleda Zia Jamaat Islami, secularism,
mm,
because it will be clear.
mm,
Right. So the revolution is, of course, like there are instant reasons behind the revolution that Sheikh Hasina, I mean, survived for 16 years with brutal autocratic regime, I mean, autocracy. And of course, like the new generations, I mean, if you consider the new voters in 2014, during the national election under Sheikh Hasina, which was like I mean, which excluded everyone.
mm,
So that generation could not vote. And then 2018, again,
mm,
another national election, and no one could
mm,
vote. The
mm,
same thing happened in 2024, right before the revolution,
mm.
right? So students and a lot of Bangladeshi people, they could not vote for like 16 years, right?
But why did you say why couldn't they vote?
Because it was not national election. It was just, I mean, it is an I mean, Sheikh Hasina gave it as a national election because it gives her legitimacy. Otherwise, there's no
It
other.
was just an exercise in futility, and no one really got to vote.
No, no one really got to vote. It was
Oh,
just vote. I mean, like in many voting centers, it was like 100% vote casted.
oh yeah. And I think
Right.
in the previous elections, she got only one opposition member elected. There were no.
Yes, happened. I mean, it was not it was not election at all. I mean, as a political science students,
Mm,
the way we know what is national,
yeah.
it was not a national election. So there were lots of tensions. And of course, like the way the dictators survive in around the world is
Mm,
always like the same way the Sheikh Hasina also survived in Bangladesh. They
mm,
create a kind of a protection, the kind of a game, and they
mm,
protect a group of people
mm,
from the rest of the country or rest of the people. So,
mm,
often tag them as a kind of a evil, right? So
mm,
the in Bangladesh's case, Sheikh Hasina was protecting a network of people,
mm,
including those who are considered as Indian or Indianese or Indianist.
mm,
Like, I mean, it is her way of defining our Malik's way of defining the whole system.
mm,
So there is a term named dictator's dilemma, how the dictators they hide everything from the nation and how the uh, the elites surrounded by the dictator hide everything from that dictator. Like the same thing happened in Bangladesh. Sheikh Hasina was not really aware of what is going on, the tensions that started in Bangladesh a long time ago against her regime because either the elites who are surrounded, uh, they do not want to make the dictator unhappy or upset, or they want to make her happy because they want to give her the good news all the time. So she
mm,
was aware of all this, but the tensions was there, right?
mm,
And at the same time, this is the nature of autocratic regime that happened in Bangladesh. And the student wing of Sheikh Hasina Awami League is Chhatra League, was also doing a lots of torture against Chhatra students in different universities, campuses, and in the country. So Sheikh Hasina was, as a dictator, was very brutally kind of torturing her opposition members and activists. Students wing were doing their job against students in the country. So this
mm.
was the main, I would say, instant issue. But the
Yeah.
most important thing was anti-Indianism. And the question is, what is anti-Indianism? What is
Mm,
Indian? Is it like, I mean, anti-Indianism is almost everywhere in South Asia, right?
mm,
I mean, if you go to Nepal, I was in Nepal in 2017-18 when I was working for the International Republican Institute, and I saw the Modese movement, how the Indian road blockade was happening and people was really upset, right?
Yeah. Even in Sri Lanka, I
Even
have
in Sri
noticed in Sri
Lanka,
Lanka,
right?
in Maldives, it's a
Maldives.
recent
So,
phenomenon. In
so
Maldives also, I've seen this. I've never been to Bhutan though, so I don't know. But in majority of these countries, you're right. There is anti-Indianism, and it is not so much in Afghanistan, by the way. It's
yeah, but
but
so
yeah,
the inter-Indianism in other South Asian country is also the same thing in Bangladesh, like the road safety,
yeah.
I mean, like the border killing,
Hmm.
trade differences or discrimination or interference in local politics is like. But in Bangladesh case, this anti-Indianism is there, right? But I would say in Bangladesh case, it is the tip of the iceberg.
Oh. Why so? I mean, why is anti-Indianism in Bangladesh and why you call it a tip of the iceberg?
So the tip of the iceberg is like the same what is happening against Nepal, with
Mm,
Sri Lanka, with Pakistan is a little different though, but
mm,
still in China, right? With China, the same thing happened in Bangladesh, like border killing and trade discriminations. But I would say these problems could be solved easily through government to government negotiations.
mm,
But the main problem is different. The main problem is not the tip of the iceberg. And the main problem is, I would say, in Bangladesh's case, uh, a cultural, it's more identity issue.
mm-hmm,
So the revolution happened against not only Awami League,
mm,
also if you just go through the revolution and the students, they're giving slogan, they often says the narrative,
mm,
Indian narrative. So what is that narrative? They often says that a cultural elite and
mm,
their network. So
mm.
in Awami League in 16 years, they actually survived through a cultural elite group
Okay.
who considered themselves as the protector of Bengali nationalism.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bengali nationalism is something that started a long time ago. I mean, even in the early 19th century, you know that West Bengal and Bangladesh, they both speak same language. We speak Bangla.
Yeah.
So the Bengali and the people who speak Bangla is
Mm-hmm.
automatically considered as a Bengali nationalist, like historically, right? But you know what? For Bangladeshi Muslims who lives in Bangladesh, for them, the Bengali nationalism is a symbol of domination by Hindu cultural elite or intellectuals that began in the early 19th century with Bengal Renaissance.
Okay.
At that time, under Bengal Renaissance, when British was under British regime, Muslim was not doing really good.
Mm-hmm.
But a Hindu elite,
Mm-hmm.
uh, they started a Bengal Renaissance, and under this Bengal Renaissance, they were actually uh, reforming Hinduism in this area. So
Okay.
Muslims were automatically excluded or alienated from Bengal Renaissance. So a Bengal Renaissance who
Mm-hmm.
gives Bengali nationalism as an identity was
Mm-hmm.
actually infused with Hindu cultural and spiritual religious scripture.
Okay.
From there, and then later we saw that the representative democracy or representativeness started,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So later, this cultural idea of Bengali nationalism, uh, it got mixed with the political representations,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you remember, in 1905, the partition of Bengal, for
Yeah.
example. So
Mm.
during partition of Bengal, the main idea was Muslim will get their own province and when the Bengal would be partitioned, but so it would give some benefit to the Bengali Muslims. But
Hmm.
Bengali Hindus, they actually protested. They actually was against it and they started the Swadeshi movement, right?
Swadeshi movement, yeah.
Swadeshi movement, right? And
Hmm.
then Bengal, partition of Bengal again like reunited in 1911.
But there
So
was Gandhiji's movement, right? Swadeshi movement was
yeah, it was
spearheaded by
also
Gandhi, Mahatma
supported.
Gandhi.
It was also supported by Mahatma Gandhi, and yeah,
Supported by, we thought that it was started by Mahatma Gandhi,
I mean
and then,
Swadeshi
yeah,
Swadeshi movement was like it's not the whole Indian. It's like a partition. I mean, like partition of this part, like
oh,
partition
okay.
of Bengal,
Bengal, okay.
East and West,
Hmm.
Bangladesh. I mean, yeah, East and West Bengal,
Hmm.
right? So, but of course, like whole thing was. I mean, there are lots of. It was against British, and then Gandhiji was there, and
Hmm.
most of the prominent leaders were there
Hmm.
with this. So that time, Bangladeshi Muslims or Muslims who speaks Bangla,
Hmm.
right, again kind of realized that Bengali nationalism was used by the Hindu elites, and it is somehow related to the uh, Hinduism, Hindu religious cultural I mean, it symbolizes that. It's not
Hmm.
for Muslims or Muslim culture or like this, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So this cultural, uh, okay. So after, I would say during anti-Pakistan movement, when language was very important, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
during that time, a group of cultural elite, they started maintaining relationship with West Bengal cultural groups, which
Hmm.
was also, I mean, that time it was really important because it was the seed of the independence movement in 1971 for Bangladesh, and it was important. But that relationship continued. And after 1971, when Sheikh Mujibur Rahman introduced Bengali nationalism in the
Hmm.
constitution,
Hmm.
then the Bangladeshi people got upset again. I mean, like it reminded them the idea of Bengali nationalism and its domination for the long time. Then, after the assassination of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, President Ziaur Rahman, who is the husband of Khaleda Zia,
Hmm.
he came to power and he actually introduced a separate nationalism for the first time in Bangladesh
Hmm.
because he realized that Bangladeshi Muslims were for a long time in search of an identity.
Hmm.
And Bengali nationalism is not their identity, it should not be their identity.
Yeah.
He introduced Bangladeshi nationalism.
Hmm.
He not only introduced Bangladeshi nationalism, he also established a political party named Bangladesh Nationalist Party, BNP. So the idea of establishing a political party for these people
Hmm.
is actually rooted in the idea of Bengali versus Bangladeshi nationalism.
Hmm.
So Bangladeshi nationalism is not necessarily Islamic or
Yeah.
religious thing. It's a kind of protest against the domination of Bengali nationalism that alienated Muslims for Bengali Muslims for a long time.
Hmm.
It's like against majoritarianism or Hindu majoritarianism,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So, long story in short, in 2013, the debate between Bangladeshi and Bengali nationalism,
Hmm.
I mean, it came back through Shahbag movement. If you remember, Dhaka, there was a movement
Hmm.
by Awami League and its cultural network again, uh, who protect Bengali nationalism. And
Hmm.
they brought this Bengali nationalism back to the prominence. And when the Bengali nationalism came back, it not only came back alone, it also came back with the symbols. And when Bengali nationalism symbolizes, it is, of course, like portrays Islamic symbols, um, I mean, as a kind of a enemy or opposite to Bengali nationalism, right? Like
Oh.
having beard, tupi or Punjabi, right? The Islamic attire, dress, hijab, things
Mm.
like that. And it gives importance to Mongol Shobhajatra, for example, a procession in Dhaka that symbolizes some kinds of Hindu cultural thing. I mean,
Mm.
according to the many of the uh, activists in Bangladesh.
Mm.
So against Shahbag movement, there was a new movement called Hefazat movement, if you remember that, in 2000, right?
Yeah.
And Hefazat movement was organized by some madrasa going teachers and students. And Sheikh Hasina, she actually committed a genocide against against these Shahbag students.
Uh-huh.
And lots of people, I mean, students were killed just overnight by Hasina.
Mm.
The reason I'm saying that, I mean, this Shahbag, Hifazat versus Shahbag is important because it is considered as the root of this, or the beginning of this revolution that happened in 2024. 2024 revolution did not just started in 2024. It started in 2013.
But Hifazat movement was at least outside Bangladesh. I'm not sure how it was taken in Bangladesh, but outside of Bangladesh, it was taken as the Islamist extremists who were saying that Islam needs protection and that is why we are out. So
Yeah.
Islam was the basic, the focus of that movement, not any kind of nationalism, Bengali or Bangladeshi nationalism.
No, no, it
No?
was it was it was not based on, you are right. It was not focused on the nationalism. But
Hmm.
when you, as I said, like when you bring back the Bengali nationalism, you're also bringing back a narrative that um, whatever symbolizes Islam, like Tupi, Dari, is against Bengali nationalism and is evil. So when you are portraying the beard and Islamic attire as evil in the society, then
Hmm.
of course, like those who are going to madrasa, they see that, okay, our Islam is, I mean, in danger. So this is how they started to save Islam.
Okay.
It was for them, it was not nationalism. Nationalism is not their concept, is not their, I mean, they didn't bother about that, of course.
So they were just protecting the Muslim identity within the
Yeah,
Bengali identity.
absolutely.
Hmm.
So I mean, this particular group was protecting the Muslim identity or their,
Or
um,
Islam as a religion per se, because
right.
they Hifazat meant that they are protecting Islam because
Yes,
in their view Islam was in danger at that time.
absolutely. Yes. Where Islam was in danger. Although, uh, I mean, the rest of the society,
Hmm.
people can see very clearly
Hmm.
that it is something again the a debate between, I mean, broadly Bangladeshi versus Bengali nationalism.
Hmm.
The idea of Bangladeshi, when Ziaur Rahman introduced, he actually was, I mean, of course, like addressing the search for an identity for Bangladeshi Muslims. And at the same time, it was also a concept that, as in, I mean, from national perspective, nation building perspective, it is also civic nationalism. That not all the people in Bangladesh speak Bangla. There are also Hill people; they speak different language, so they are also Bangladeshi. If I say that, if I declare in constitution that we are Bengali nationalists,
Hmm.
then what about them, right? So
Yeah,
when you say Bangladeshi, it also include them, like American,
yeah, includes
right?
them.
Yes.
But does that also, sorry, I'm pausing you, interrupting you again
Yeah.
and again, but I just want to understand because you are explaining it so well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand from what you are saying is that uh, in a way, Hifazat and just let Hifazat alone. Let's talk about BNP then. So BNP's Bangladeshi nationalism.
Yeah.
Actually, do you think, to me, it seems like they were excluding Hindus from it, and Hasina Wajid's Awami League's Bengali nationalism was actually more inclusive because it included Hindus and other religious minorities. But Bangladeshi nationalism, as you say, of BNP might be actually exclusive and would only focus on the Muslim identity. What do you say?
Yeah, I was expecting this question. Thank you. So this is I mean broadly we can say that yes, I mean BNP is um it's a failure from BNP that
Mm.
they could not include Hindus like
Or
um,
other
the
religious
way that
communities? Yeah.
the way that our Malik could, but for
Mm,
our Malik it is actually I mean it gives them a legitimacy. I mean and I mean let's go back to this cultural elite network.
mm,
And this cultural elite network, they actually from the very beginning, as I said, like even after 1971. So they always, um Awami League always, I mean, maintain this connection to them with this network, and that still exists. At one stage, and of course, like when they have when this cult network is so strong that
mm,
Awami League use this network as a kind of a bridge between the connection of, I mean, the connection between Dhaka and Delhi. So, and it is a trusted network for India to rely on, right?
yeah.
At the same time, Awami League was using, Sheikh Hasina and her political party was using anti-Indianism in Bangladesh.
Mm,
The I mean, the same way that BJP use anti-Muslimism in India, and it gives their some kind of political gain. Awami League was using anti-Indianism in India and in Bangladesh, and uh, anti-Indianism in Bangladesh on the, I mean, in other way is
mm.
giving very good benefit to Awami League for its survival,
Okay.
right? And this cultural elite, I mean, because in this area, Bengali nationalism is an identity that infused with Hindu Hindu scripture and culture for a long time, as I mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
So this cultural elite, along with Awami League, is the protector of this Bengali nationalism, right?
Okay. But this cultural elite that you're talking about, is it predominantly Hindu Bengalis or plus Muslim
It's
Bengalis?
not, it's both.
Okay.
Yes, most of the Hindus are part of this culture, but it's not, not necessarily it is a kind of a Hindu Muslim identity or like that. So, but in Bangladesh's electoral politics, just to
Mm.
remind you that Hindu Muslimism is not an issue because
Okay.
it doesn't give any political gain to any political party. I mean, Hindu Muslimism, it
Mm.
doesn't work in
Mm.
Bangladesh. For Bangladesh's political electoral purposes, Hindu Muslimism is not an issue.
Mhm.
But if you if Bangladeshi people, if a Muslim in Bangladesh torture a Hindu,
Hmm.
then it is a benefit for Awami League
Hmm.
because in India it is important,
Hmm.
right? And because
Yeah.
in India it is important, Awami
Yeah.
League's legitimacy to survive in Bangladesh
Hmm.
is always provided and by India,
Hmm.
right? So there's the main idea.
Hmm.
So this cultural, I mean, remember that during the revolution, there was also one important, um, uh, I mean, word which was very famous, the narrative, Indian
Hmm.
narrative. So what is this
Yeah.
narrative about? This
Hmm.
narrative is something that with this narrative, if someone in Bangladesh
Hmm.
wear hijab, for
Hmm.
example, or tupi or beard, and is assaulted by uh, a supporter of Bengali nationalist or
Hmm.
that network who promote Mongol Shobhajatra or who goes to Shahbag
Hmm.
movement, right? It is not an issue. The mainstream media will not cover it. And again, mainstream media in Bangladesh,
Hmm.
including Pratham Alo and Daily Star,
Hmm.
also considered as the part of this strong network.
Okay. And that is why it was attacked. Both of them were
Yeah,
attacked.
yeah, right.
Hmm.
And on the other hand, if someone who is part of this network, who goes to Shaba, who goes to Mongol Shobhajatra,
Hmm.
who sing very good Rabindra Sangeet, right?
Yeah.
And the protector or supporter of Bengali nationalism
Hmm.
is assaulted by someone wearing tupi and Punjabi and wearing hijab, then it's a big issue. Then the
Hmm.
next day, Pratham Alo or Daily Star will make a headline that a secular person is assaulted, right? And in Bangladesh, what happens? Like, I mean, we have a lots of surveys. Like, I was part of a survey conducted by United States Institute of Peace when I worked for them. So Bangladeshi people, they love religion at the same time they're supporter of democracy. I mean,
Hmm.
it's a majority they support democracy, but at the
Hmm.
same time they, I mean, also many of them are practicing Muslims, but not necessarily they're radical Muslim because radicalism in Bangladesh, they do not have any electoral significance. They do not have vote. For
Okay.
example, Jamaat Islam, Jamaat Islam is not considered a radical or extremist political party. It's like a mainstream democratic who made alliance with Awami League and then later with BNP. So it is a kind of a Islamic political party,
Hmm.
but it's not considered as extremist or radical political party.
Hmm.
And it is also known as the most intra-party democratic party. I mean, who practice democracy inside political party. So
Hmm.
it's a kind of a based on ideology, like communist. So or leftist political parties. So
Hmm.
they have their own ideology, which is Islam and not necessarily violent,
Hmm.
right? But
And
there's
they're
some,
still pro-Pakistan.
there is still what?
Pro-Pakistan.
I mean, they don't claim that.
Okay.
They don't claim that. They don't claim that they are pro-Pakistan. Again, like in Bangladesh, when you heard the something like pro-Pakistani, is actually anti-Indian. So anti-Indianism or
Is automatically a pro-Pakistani.
automatically
Yeah.
pro-Pakistan because it is uh, it is I mean local politics in India,
Hmm.
right? But
Yeah.
Pakistan is not at all relevant in Bangladesh's politics now. I
Hmm.
mean, in no
But
way.
But see the Shahbag movement that you
Yeah,
were talking about. Now, Shahbag movement was basically, as far as I know, how it started was they were demanding stern action against these former Razakars or whatever
yeah,
the pro-Pakistani elements who played a part in genocide in Bangladesh when Bangladesh came into being on the independence of Bangladesh, and we call it dismemberment of Pakistan. So basically, Shahbag movement was that, where it was massive movement. The secularists in Bangladesh were rising up against everyone who stood for Pakistan at that time. So, with that perspective, Jamaat Islami, at least outside Bangladesh, in Pakistan especially, and in India as well, is considered a political factor in Bangladesh which is predominantly pro Pakistan. And that is one reason why Indian media was framing this revolution as something which was orchestrated by Pakistan. So, what's your view? Your
as
view?
I said, like, I mean, first of all, like addressing to the Shahbag issue. Yes, initially at the very beginning, it
Hmm,
was it looked like that. I mean, many of the Bangladeshi students and general people they went to Shahbag because
hmm,
it looked like they were um they were actually claiming something, I mean, giving punishment against Rajakar. They were asking for justice,
hmm,
right?
hmm,
But I mean, within a very short time, it was realized that it was actually organized by Awami League because they were trying to hang
Jamaat
the
Islami figures.
Jamaat Islami because Jamaat Islami
Hmm,
was giving BNP, it was BNP's allies, and this is how BNP won the election.
hmm,
And Awami League, I mean, was defeated because of the Jamaat Islamists alliance with BNP.
hmm.
So
Okay.
it was important for Awami League to kill the key leaders of this political party.
Hmm,
But many of the Bangladeshi people wanted to see justice,
hmm,
right? I mean, because 1971 is still not resolved. People have the right to ask for justice.
hmm.
Like, what happened? We need to
Yeah.
know what happened.
Hmm,
We need to see the justice is there.
hmm,
But within a very short time, people realize that no, it is actually organized by Awami League and its cultural elites,
hmm,
who was the protector of Bengali nationalism,
hmm,
and they were asking for I mean just to I mean they were um, asking to hang the key political leaders of Jamaat Islami,
hmm.
naming them they were the Rajakar. So it was like that, and then
Oh,
like they were hanged. And but the problem was, yes, Jamaat Islami is Jamaat Islami, and they are. I mean, many of them are called Rajakar because they supported Pakistan during
hmm,
1961, or they didn't want the division or whatever, right?
hmm,
But the issue is, I mean, it was solved that time. I mean, it was their 1971 agenda.
hmm,
But in Bangladesh's politics for the last, I mean, it started after 1971 till now, Pakistan is absolutely irrelevant. There is no question of Pakistan in Bangladesh.
hmm,
There is no, I mean, no one will ask you whether you support Pakistan or not. Like, it's not relevant in Bangladesh's politics.
hmm,
But
hmm.
the way India is relevant is, as I mentioned, that this cultural network, Awami League, and their connections with Delhi using this
Yeah.
cultural bridge.
Plus, also, I think India continued interfering in Bangladesh's internal affairs through politicians like Hasina Wajid, and it's continued, because of the border, it has longest border. I think India does not share such a long border with Pakistan even.
Mm.
As long as it is, I mean, as long the Bangladeshi border is with India. So it was natural to, to be in a, and then Hasina Wajid for such a long time was considered to be a very, very pro-Indian figure, was in the government for like more than probably 15 years. So it was natural for India to have that kind of, penetration in Bangladeshi political system. But because of that, I think there is an India is relevant in Bangladeshi politics, but since Pakistan did not interfere as such in Bangladeshi affairs, you don't see there is neither love nor hate for Pakistan, I think, in Bangladesh.
There's no, I mean, but rather, I mean, because of India's support for Awami League for the last 16 years,
Mm,
um, if you ask someone that, do you love India or Pakistan? They will probably say that, yes, Pakistanis, they are Muslims, or, I mean, there's no hate. They still want, I mean, justice for the 1971. I mean,
yes,
nobody
yes,
forget that, what happened in
yes.
1971. But it's not
Mm,
necessarily the thing that they still hate Pakistan,
mm.
and they, or, um, I
And there
mean,
were
or even,
slogans.
or even,
There,
or even or even, I mean, it's not that those who speak, I mean, those who raises voice against anti-Indianism, there are of course like a very few YouTuber or
mm,
some bloggers
mm,
who are even like they want to show that I'm in anti-Indian.
mm,
Most of the students, protesters, activists in Bangladesh, including Hadi, for example,
mm,
uh, they are not anti-Indian just because of India.
mm.
They are anti-Indian because of Army League. And
Okay.
it is not necessarily anti-Indianism. It is a kind of a problem. I mean, I would
A
say
reaction to the policies of Awami League.
yeah, it is not necessarily India's problem. India's
Mm,
problem is border killing. India's problem is like the trade
mm,
problem or other problems like any other South Asian countries.
mm,
But the in-depth region that I discussed with you is the problem from Bangladesh side.
mm,
This is how the anti-Indianism was created because anti-Indianism gave Awami League a lot of benefit for a long time. So it is more Awami Leagues and this cultural elite who lives in Bangladesh, their problem. It's not really a lot of India's problem. So for example, if a political party through free and fair elections comes to power, for
mm,
example,
mm,
was the tip of the iceberg would be solved. But this deep, in-depth problem, which is kind of protected by these cultural elites, is different. This is why Hadi, Sharif Osman Hadi, and many of these students like him say that our revolution is not over. So many of them are still on the street that says that the revolution is going on.
mm. Okay, so here, let me pause for a moment and we will end this episode here, but we will continue with Professor Harun in the next episode, which will be slightly shorter than this, but we will be discussing first the legacy of Khaleda Zia and then the future of democracy in Bangladesh. But I think Professor Harun has very, very succinctly described what was basically the root cause of the revolution of 2024, and it was the context of the legacy of Begum Khalida Zia and of BNP. A lot of historical context for all of you to munch on till we come to you for with the next episode with Professor Harun. For now, thank you very much for tuning in, and have a great one.